Hello everybody, welcome back. I'm the Strategy Professor, and today I just wanted to give you a real quick update on the channel and sort of what's going on and what's going to happen over the next couple of weeks. So first of all, thank y'all so much for the awesome season, for the awesome year in League of Legends and in Warhammer as well. Really had a ton of fun. We've got a lot of awesome people that come out every night and that tune in to all the videos, so I really appreciate that. Thank y'all so much. The TLDR is I'm going to play the entire time during the pre-season. We're going to try to rank up as much as we can with our MMR so that we can start off strong going into Season 10. And also just to kind of explore and try to understand the meta to help you have some fun over the preseason and also to kind of get you ready for Season 10 upcoming. I don't know exactly when it's going to start. Usually it's in January, but to me it's just the same thing. You know, you just lock in, just try to play, try to have some good times in League, try to get better at it. So it's going to be business as usual on the channel. And then for Total War Warhammer, I'm just going to keep releasing stuff as often as I can. I'm going to try to see if I can do 2 campaigns at once on the channel. So I'll try to release one maybe around like 9 in the morning Eastern Standard Time and another one around noon Eastern Standard Time. And I'm going to see if I can release at least one League-related video per day sometime around 3 or 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then we'll have the stream start around 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and try to go till about 2 every night. So that's the quick version. The more detailed version here is the preseason is going to start, I believe, 9/23, or like patch 9/23. It releases on Wednesday, I think. The timing of it is a little weird. I think the 18th, it's either tonight or tomorrow that it ends, but we're going to end the season in Platinum 4. We're at 0 LP right now. There's just no way we could make a run at D4. We did get to Platinum 3 in like Wednesday or something, so I was thinking if we did really well, you know, maybe we could make a run at it, but it's just not happening. I've just been kind of stuck around kind of the P3, P4 zone for the last couple of months. And I'm going to talk a little bit about why I think that is, and what maybe we can do to try to get back up to D4. As kind of longer term viewers of the channel know, I was D4, you know, throughout May and June, and then we just kind of fell off a cliff in July. Not off a cliff. I mean, we were bouncing around like P2, P3, but certainly a lot lower, and then it's just kept trending lower. So we'll talk about what's up with that. Versus in the first part of the season, you know, we were basically bouncing around P1, like knocking on the door of P2 or of D4, pretty much all of the time around there, and then we just kind of fell off after that. So we'll go into kind of what that is in just a second. But we're gonna end up P4. You know, it kind of sucks. I wish we got higher. This is pretty much the lowest that we've been all season consistently, but we are going to work on it. We are going to try to move up there. But that's just kind of where we're going to end. So I'm just going to play ranked as usual, unless we get really close to demoting into gold for some reason, which, I mean, could happen. So if we get into kind of the red zone, then we might just play some normals or practice some stuff on the PBE. But, you know, I think we can probably go somewhere close to 50-50 and just play some ranked, try out some stuff. I would like to try out Senna some more, but obviously I have not done that well on her. I think I'm 1-2 so far. I'm 0-2 here, but I know we played one, I think when she released last week, we played one on the first day. But I'll talk about her a lot more with the tier list, and I'll have a new updated guide for her coming out. I think that she's pretty strong in lane as long as you're not against hard engage. But I feel like later on, she does kind of, I don't know, she's just very, very conditional later on, I think. But we'll have an entire guide about her. She is a little bit better than I thought she would be, especially on release. But anyways, we'll talk about that some more. So what is that like? What has contributed to me like staying out of D4? And these aren't excuses. I'm just trying to find an explanation because like I've never had such a hard time getting out of P4 before. Like in recent memory, even back in you know, back for the last few seasons, I did get Diamond in Season 6 at the very end. But even the last few seasons, you know, I feel like I was still around like P1, P2 for a lot of the seasons, even though I didn't touch Diamond in during the preseason between Season 7 and between Season 8 and Season 9. I did get Diamond a couple of different times and fell out and got back in. So we were around D4 for a lot of the preseason. During Season 7, I think we peaked out around like P1 or whatever. But if you always look at the percentages, like we just had way higher percentages a lot of times. Like the Janna, even back to Season 6 or whatever, we had Nautilus. You know, some of our highest ranked things ended up at 54%, 57%. Now, we had less games played in Season 6. We started the channel in the back half of the season, but we didn't play very much in the front half, so we didn't have a ton of games there. But we were still getting, 53, 57, 54, 51. That's how a lot of my stuff goes, is the champions that I play a lot usually have a higher win rate than the stuff that I don't play very much. Which kind of makes sense, but there are some people that'll have like really high win rates with low representation. I've got a little bit of that down here, but for the most part, if it's not one of my top 5 champions, typically I'm not going to do as well on the champion. So, if I was really trying hard to climb, I would just play 5 champs pretty much the whole season, a diversity of champs, and just stick with it. But of course, as a content creator, I'm going to try to bring you some spicy picks every now and then, try out some new stuff. It's fun to try new stuff, but historically, this doesn't work out that well, and that's why most people that are advising you, if you're trying, like, your one goal is to climb as hard as possible, you want to try to stick with 3 to 5 champs, because I think that's probably the same way on a lot of people, to where your top 5 champs or so are going to be a lot stronger than the next 5 champs. Top 5 most played, that is. So yeah, we see that here in Season 6, and I don't remember what my win rate was. It was probably 51, 52%. But we have some, like, pretty good percentages there. Here, Season 7, we have 57 on Janna, 56 on Zyra. Lulu's a common problem in a lot of seasons. You'll see that this season too, where she's in my top 5 most played, but she's always at like 45%. I feel like she can be strong. It just doesn't really happen that often. I think a lot of it is just her Q is pretty worthless outside of the laning phase for support Lulu, and she just doesn't scale as well. Like, you have to have very specific, like, AD carries like Kog'Maw or maybe Twitch to work with her, but other than that, she has a hard time against other enchanters, and she can have a hard time against just a bunch of different team comps because of the way her kit works. She doesn't scale with plus healing and shielding at all, at least not on her ult. So anyways, then Sona was pretty good too, so pretty decent win percentages there. And then if we go back even to Season 8 here, we had our Zyra. Now Season 8 I think was a little on the rough side. Our top ones weren't as good. We had 51% here, 50% here, then 56 here, which is still pretty decent. And then a Janna, after she got sledgehammered, she's at 48%. Lulu actually was 52 this season, so that's not too bad. And then we had a couple of outliers. The Soraka and the Morgana were okay there. But yeah, dipping down a little bit there. And then, like, this season was probably statistically one of my worst seasons ever. I mean, we had a couple of 51s. We had a 50. I guess we did have a Sona clocking at number 4 at 60%. So maybe it's not that much worse, but we got the Lulu there at 45 again. Lux at one point was 60% this season, but after she got nerfed, I just couldn't find it. The Nautilus did creep up into 50% territory, and the Soraka did get up to 52. So it's not a total, like, disaster. Like, if these were the only champs that I played, it probably would have been all right. We probably would have ended around, like, 50 or 51%. But we just happened to play all these other champs. And most of them are in the gutter. Tom Kench, with a low sample size before he got nerfed a lot, is 53%. But, the Yumi's killing me. The Lulu, Leona, who I've tried to make work several times, the Thresh. All of this hasn't been that good. The Nautilus was really low, but he's come up a little bit. So, I ended up with 49%, which is sad, man. It's not even 50% of what it was. So we're definitely going to pick that up. All we needed really was 51%, because if you play however many games this is, like 1,700 games, 1,600 games, an extra 1% is 16 games. And it takes, probably about 12, like plus 12, in order to get one rank higher. So we just needed 4 more divisions higher. So if we had, like maybe 3% higher, if we had 52%, we probably would have had Diamond. It doesn't take a lot. But anyways, so yeah, that's kind of how statistically it's gone about. And then I think it's just terrible sleep and diet. If you'll notice, because like I said, I'm not trying to look for excuses. I'm trying to look for answers. And you have to be able to identify the problems if you want to try to find solutions. So, no excuses there. I think it has been a tough meta. We'll talk about that in a little bit for the bot lane, the back half of the season. But there are challenger supports. It's not like it's impossible. There are challenger ADCs. There are quite a few that are high up on the ladder that are ADCs. And then there are challenger supports and all that stuff. So it is possible, although I think most people will say bot lane has been weaker than it has been in past seasons as well, especially in the back half. But if you'll notice, like where my tier graph is here, there is one conspicuous sort of thing to mention. These are months when I don't have class, really. In May, class is over at, really like May like 5th or so, typically, at universities in the United States. The first week of May typically is the last week of classes, and then you have to grade some essays and stuff. But a lot of my grading is done in April with their big projects. So in May, I really didn't have a lot of classes, and in June, I didn't have classes, obviously. And all these other months, I have school. And that, especially, I had 3 classes here, including an 8 a.m. class, which is massive. So I do way better in the summer. Why is that? Because I don't have another job, basically, in the summertime, right? I can put all my work into the channel. I get several days a week. I'll get a solid 3 days a week. I can get good sleep. I can have a better diet. I can go exercise during the day more because I have 3 days without my daughter. And I think that really does add up. I try to pretend like I'm superhuman and it doesn't matter, but realistically, it does. Like, there's a very clear pattern, at least partially, that I got D4 on the days when I didn't have, or the months when I didn't have school. Now, that theory falls off a little bit because you don't have school in July either, and I did fall down in July. There was some other stuff going on there, but so it's partially meta, but I think, the meta shifted a lot between June and July. But I think at least some of it has to do with school too. And that, obviously I love school, I love teaching, but it does take a lot of time, takes a lot of energy. And that's just energy and time I can't put into the game. So I think that's part of it. Especially, like I said, this semester has been really, really hard on me. I'm sure people probably know this on the channel. I've been a little erratic. I've been late to a lot of streams. I've been, I missed a couple of streams this week. That, never happens typically. Now, part of that's because I've had this cold, which I'm just about over, hopefully. But a lot of that is I have this 8 a.m. class at a different university that's, on the other side of town. Actually, it's in a completely different town. It's, 35 minutes away. And it's cool. It's nice. It's the first time I've been teaching there, but it's a different game plan. It's a different kind of class. They have a different, sort of setup at that university. So I've had to put a lot of extra work into that. And when you're staying up till 3 in the morning streaming and then answering emails, doing channel stuff, then you have to turn around and get up at 6 a.m. So that you can get ready for your classes. That's really hard. So I would just come home and just be zapped, and just sleep a lot. And, I've gained a decent chunk of weight this semester. I don't know if y'all can tell on stream, probably not too much, but I haven't been living a healthy lifestyle because I haven't had a lot of sleep, haven't had a lot of exercise. My diet's terrible because I'm always running around overworked. So I think all of this adds up too. A lot of your energy, a lot of your focus does come from sleep, hydration, eating decent food, and stuff like that. Because we're not just disembodied spirits running around, right? We have to live in this physical body, and you can only get what you put in, to your body. And so I feel like I've really, overlooked that, and just combination of sleep, diet, and lack of exercise has really, has really hurt my focus. So anyways, I think that's definitely a thing, and I can work on that for sure. I'm trying to work on that some more. Although next semester I do have another 8:30 class, but I think I'm going to only be teaching 2 classes, so I might be able to work around that. A big part of the problem is that not only was it an 8 o'clock class, it was on the other end of town, so I had to get up at 6, but it was also, I was teaching at 2 different universities, so I had to commute, and the time frame stretched out from 8 to 4, basically every day. If I just had an 8 o'clock 8 o'clock class and then a 9 o'clock class, and it was done, and I could go home and go to sleep at noon or something, that wouldn't be too bad, but that's not how it is. So anyways, another thing, I think inconsistent meta performance. I just have not been good on the meta champs. Nautilus, I've done all right. He's come up a lot. He was in the low 30s, but Leona, who's been very strong, haven't done well on Leona. Haven't done that well on Blitz, I don't think. I don't play Blitz that much. But Leona's been a very strong champ for a while. Thresh is strong. Haven't done well on Thresh. I think Pike, not been doing that well. Yumi had a moment there where she was pretty strong, although I don't think she ever had a high win rate. But yeah, I just those types of champs, the hard engaged champs, are historically not my bread and butter. They're not my best champs. There was the one season in season 6. I've tried to get better on those champs, but it's hard to adjust in solo queue, like your positioning, because I've played enchanters and mages so much that when you're a hard engaged champ, like you have to make like really really high percentage plays in order for like it to be good. Because if you just make like a 50-50 play, or even like a 60-40 play where it, like you probably have an edge but not really, like your team might be too timid, they're not gonna follow up, and then you're gonna die. And that creates a lot of problems, because when you're dead to support, you're giving away gold to the enemy team, but you're also losing control of vision, you're losing control of objectives. Like there's a lot of bad stuff that happens when you die, and I feel like I've been dying a lot more this season than I have in the past. If you just look at some of these numbers, 3-8, 3-9, 5-4, 3-6. Nautilus is almost 5 deaths. So you see, like, the Zyra's always kind of dangerous. But yeah, like the Nautilus is like almost 5 deaths. Leona is almost 5 deaths. Pike is literally 5 deaths. And these are the types of champs I've been playing a lot. Thresh is 6, almost 7. That can't happen. You just can't die that much. Versus, like, look at this season. Rakan's 3-2, 3-5. Janna was 3-3. Season 7, 2-9 on Janna, 3-6 on Rakan, 3-6, 3-6. So I think that's been a big part. Even back in the day, I mean, look at this. Like Nautilus Season 6, 3.5. Alistar, 3.5. Tom Kench, 3.5. Like, my deaths were way lower across the board on most champions, except for Zyra. Zyra's always kind of, like I said, dangerous, but I've just died a lot more. And I think a lot of it is there's a lot of power, which we'll talk about the meta here in just a second. I don't want this video to be too long. But there's a lot of extra power in the game than there has been before. There's a lot more burst damage. And that means it's just a lot riskier for these hard engaged champs. And I just never quite adjusted, I think, was a huge thing, as I was just trying to take too many, like, 60-40 plays. And I just wasn't gauging the situation correctly. There have been numerous times, like, it happens every stream at least once, where I'm like, wow, holy crap, I can't believe it did that much damage. Like, it's still shocking sometimes how much damage some of these champions do, even though I played 1,600 games this season. You'd think, oh, you should know exactly how much damage that champion does, but it still catches me off guard, because I've been playing for, like, 9 years, going on 10 years, and the damage now is higher than I think it's almost ever been across the board. And you just get blown up, even tanky champions like Nautilus and Leona. So I just haven't done a good job of adjusting to that, and it shows, because I've died too much. And it seems like it's not that big of a deal. It's just 1 extra death per game. That's a really big deal. It adds up. Obviously it adds up. This is the lowest rank that I've been in a while. And then so I wanted to look in, and it was hard to find exactly what happened between, I think I looked at like 9-10 or maybe 9-9. Where did I stop? I had it pulled up here. I went all the way back to 9-9. So like May through June. So 9-9 through 9-13. So 4 patches there. So like, what happened there? Why did I fall off a cliff? Because those were the patches where I was diamond, and then after that, I fell out of diamond. So presumably leading up to that, it was strong, and then I was able to hold it for a while, but then it started slipping away, and falling off. So these were the supports that were nerfed during that time period. So we had Karma, Sona, Pike, Yuumi, Lux, Tahm Kench, and Janna were all nerfed. Tom was nerfed multiple times during that. And I think this was a huge deal. I'm not sure about solo queue, but Tahm Kench is really, really important to balance in the meta, because if Tom's gone, if you can't play Tom, then that means that a lot of the hard engaged champs are going to be way stronger. So like your Nautiluses, your Leonas, all of that gets stronger. Now Morgana is still there. Morgana was also nerfed during this time period. I forgot to put Morgana there. Her Black Shield was nerfed. But she's one champion who is often banned out. She's like 50% banned. If there are 2 champions, though, if there's Tom and Morg, that are good anti-engage, then that's a problem. Also, I think the itemization on Thresh was kind of rougher. Thresh kind of fell out of the meta for one reason or another. Braum also got nerfed at some point. But a lot of these peeler kind of protection tanks fell out of the meta, and so you started getting these hard engaged supports, which once again is not my cup of tea in most metas. getting a lot stronger. And some of my best champions, I mean, Sona was my highest win rate champ. I still have 60% on her, but it was even higher than that. She got nerfed really hard. Karma got completely gutted. I was never that great on Yumi, but I did have a strong showing on Lux. I used to be 60% on her when she was hot, in the mid-season, and then I ended up 49% on her. So, like, all of these, I know that I got to Diamond. Some of the champions I was definitely spamming on the way to Diamond were Lux, Sona, and Karma, like, for sure. Those were, like, the biggest. I think Zyra was kind of in there, too, but that was what got me to Diamond this season. And those are historically champions that I've been, maybe not Lux, but like Sona and Zyra, historically I've been pretty strong on. So those were nerfed. ADC nerfs. So Sivir was nerfed out. And Sivir's usually pretty good with Enchanters. She doesn't require that much peel, and you don't really have to engage. Like, you just want to kind of push and rotate. And I think that's something that I was pretty good at. They also, they nerfed Tyr at some point. They nerfed Kai'Sa, I think, before that. But not in that selection of patches. But they did nerf out Essence Reaver, and the big one that they nerfed was Ginsu's. Now, I think this was a huge balance of power shift in the bot lane, going back and thinking about it, because if you think when Ginsu's was in the meta, and Essence Reaver was also in the meta, and it was good, and those could compete with Infinity Edge, then I think that was the most diverse, like, strong ADC meta that we'd had in a long time. ADCs were just coming back from, the Season 8 massacre, when they just gutted all the AD, or all the crit items and all that. Because you had, at the time, I remember Vayne was fairly strong. Vayne actually did get nerfed as well in there. So Vayne was actually fairly strong, believe it or not, as much as I harp on Vayne. But she was pretty strong. Varus was strong at the time. He was definitely playable with Bork plus Ginsu's. He was a force. Kog'Maw was playable. Kai'Sa was pretty good. I don't even think she was a little bit better than she is now, but she still was played all the time now. So it didn't really push her out of the meta that much. So those are 4 champs. You also had Sivir, was really strong. That's a 5th ADC. I'm pretty sure Jhin was pretty good in this meta as well. With Infinity Edge. He might have even gotten Ginsu's at some point. But Jhin was in there. I think Miss Fortune was in there. Caitlyn was just starting to get a few buffs. Muramana just got buffed here as well. I think it got 5 extra AD, so I think that was, like, decent on Ezreal at the time. Ezreal was fairly popular. I think Ezreal didn't get nerfed until later on in the season, several times. So that right there was, like, 9 different ADCs. I could probably go back and see historical data. I didn't go that far. But I feel like there were at least, like, 9 different ADCs that were, like, pretty good. And they were pretty well represented. You stink, Rory? She say I stink?
She did. She went poo-poo in her underwear.
Oh no. I stink. Like, right now it's coming back a little bit. So it is definitely, it's moving up. It's diversifying. But there was a time there in the middle of the season, I talked about this in several patch notes and tier lists, where... Good job, Rory. Where ADCs, a lot of them were around 50%. But now they are yuck. But they are coming back now at the end of the season. Too little, too late for my elo, but they did get significantly weaker after this. So yeah, the Essence Reaver nerf particularly hit Sivir. I think that hit Xayah a little bit too, although Xayah was obviously still strong. And then Ginsu's hit like 4 or 5 different champions that were good. They should have just nerfed Master Yi and Kai'Sa and just let Varus and Kog'Maw have an item so they could be played. But anyways, and then Ryze, Kiana, and some other champs got buffed. So I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to make excuses, but it seemed like this was a huge shift with these types of champs getting nerfed, and then Nautilus, Leona, Thresh, Blitzcrank, those type of champs coming back into play. Just a meta shift I never really adjusted to that well. Okay. So anyways, this video is already getting pretty long. Like I said, I will be playing a lot during the preseason. I'm going to release a ton of videos. I know other sites have already started releasing like content about what's going on in the preseason. I did do one video that talked about it a couple weeks ago, but these people do not have the actual numbers. We don't know what's happening. I know that it's cool to get the scoop. Everyone wants to know before it comes out. All the content creators, it's a race to see who can say stuff first. but we don't know the final numbers, okay? Now, yes, a lot of times they are accurate on the PBE. They're pretty close, but sometimes in the past there have been certain things they've previewed they did not include in a patch, okay? And there's a lot of stuff that's previewed. So I don't want to, make a patch and tell you, all the ADCs are going to be like, this is going to be the meta, and then they all of a sudden say, well, we're not going to make those changes to Storm Razor on this patch. We're going to save it for another patch, just for example. So I just want to make sure that I can give you high quality content that's accurate, where I can give you a real assessment of what's going on, and to do that, I need to see the actual numbers. I need to see what it says in those patch notes, and they should be released tomorrow. So that's why I haven't done any additional content for you early, because I'd rather be accurate than early. So I'm going to be releasing probably about 2 videos per day. I'm going to do a tier list for every role going into the preseason. And then I'll probably have like maybe 3 or 4 videos about the patch with the preseason themed around different stuff. But maybe not that much, maybe like 2 or 3. We'll have several patch videos though, and I'll have an updated sort of Senna guide video, and I'll have a tier list for each role. So be sure to stay tuned for all that. I'm going to try to get some more quality of life on the channel too over winter break. I still have a lot of stuff, like November's pretty crazy, but once December starts, now that I think about it too, when was the other time that I got Diamond? For those of y'all that have followed the channel a lot, December and January. I got it twice. You know what's going on in those months? What's not going on? School's not going on. I don't have school in December. It's kind of like May. The final day of class is usually like the first week of December, and then school doesn't start back until the end of January. So once again, the 4 times that I got Diamond since the very end of last season, it was like once in December, once in January, and then we got it and kept it May and June. All of that was when school was not in session. The only month where that didn't happen, where there's not significant school, was July. So 4 out of the 5 months where there's not significant school, I was able to have Diamond. Well, we're going to try we have to find a solution, because I'm not going to quit teaching. But we got to find another solution to find and keep Diamond. I think if I just eat better and exercise better and just try to be more efficient with my time, we can make it happen. But anyways, I want to come up with some better quality of life during December. So we'll see if we can get a good channel intro, outro maybe. We might, contract that out to somebody who has some good sort of video design skills. And I still want to do like the emotes and like maybe some merch. Emotes aren't that great on YouTube, but it'd be cool to have a couple of them maybe. Maybe YouTube someday will step their game up. And then just maybe some better video editing. We'll see if we can learn it. I don't have time for a ton of like really polished video editing, but I could maybe have some clips that are a little bit edited. I've been trying to do that some with like the tier list, where it's not like exactly video editing, but where I have like the split screen and I can show you visually the stuff on the side for the different stats and different things that are going on. So it's adding a little bit more visuals to it than just a Google Doc, but anyways, we'll try that out. And then I'm going to try to run 2 Warhammer campaigns at once. I do have a couple that I'm working on right now. I know there have been over the last couple of weeks, I have released videos, but it hasn't been as frequently as I would like. So I'm going to try to set those up and make sure we get at least 1 video per day, and we'll try to get 2 per day whenever possible. Anyways, that's going to be it. So thank you all very much once again for the awesome year. I really appreciate it. Like I said, we're just going to keep going through the preseason. We're going to have a ton of content, so keep checking it out. These are some things I think I can work on, like to try some real tangible problems. Hopefully I can, iron out a little bit. And I think that's really kind of the root of a lot of my problem, is just, figuring out how to adjust and just working on my out-of-game stuff so that I'll be better prepared for the end game. But anyways, that's it. Thank you very much. As always, I appreciate it. And I'll see you next time. Have a great day.